I'm not fucking worried about no fucking panda throwing no kicks, that's for sure.
Well, here we are. We're ready to go. We're live. I'm Kyle Carroll, Carroll's Corner MMA Podcast. I'm joined by Anthony Panek, who'll be fighting Bob Buskey at Cage Wars 46. Anthony, how you doing?
Good, man. How you doing?
Doing fantastic. Now, tell us a little bit about this fight you got with Bob Buskey going on. I already see there's a little trash from Bob coming your way. Tell us a little bit about this fight and how the matchup came about.
Basically, I'm always on Facebook. I mean, who isn't? So, when you ain't doing shit and you're working, you're scrolling up and down. I seen he's on there saying he can't get a fight, and I'm just like, well, I haven't really been communicating with Slim or anything, but it's like, nobody reached out to me or, stuff like that. But I just kind of thought it was hilarious that nobody would fight Bob, so I just put it out there. I'm just like, well, I'm here. And then he started talking shit. Then I think Slim reached out to his coach or his corner or something, and they had said something like, we're worried about Panek backing out or something like that. So I got online and just kind of called him out and said, listen, man, I'm ready, but I hear there's some issues. You're stalling on your end, so what's up? So, Bob had said, I don't want no excuses or something like that. So I said, ain't gonna be no excuses, man. And then that was it. And then he immediately posted on my timeline after it was confirmed and started talking shit. Like, I already know how Bob is. I mean, I've been running in the Cage War scene now for a little over a year. So actually I've been following it, a lot longer than that. But I already know what the guy's about. Is just shit talking. I already know. So.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Bob Buskey loves to try to take the, I guess you could say, the Conor McGregor approach and get into everyone's head with the verbal abuse. But, you guys are fighting at super heavyweight. I know last time I did see you at the show, you were talking about going down in a weight class. Tell us about that. Does that put on pause right now till this fight's over? Or are you still heading down and kind of still losing weight to, I guess, have that mobility and speed over Bob Buskey?
Yeah, I'm already down now. I mean, I got to gain some. I'm not going to tell you exactly where I'm at because,
Fair enough.
I got to get some weight, I guess, to get 266. Obviously, I'm not there yet. So I got to put on some healthy weight. I got to eat a bunch of, Puerto Rican rice and beans and some steak. And I got to visit some Chinese buffets a couple times a week, to get out there. But I'm going to do it healthy and, hit the gym and, get some squats and get some, work those compound muscles,
Yeah, put that muscle mass on.
Yeah, man, you don't want to train little muscles like biceps or you want to get on the legs and the chest and the back. That's where you build your weight. So that's what I'll be doing to get up there. But yeah, I was doing a lot of intermittent fasting. Obviously, it's no secret. I've lost a bunch of weight compared to where I used to be. I wanted to get, I wanted to fight. I think the reason why I wanted to move down was I wanted to get better competition. I mean, just seems like the heavyweight competition these days, you know how it is, man. I mean, you got a couple guys like Wolf Oak and Miles and, you got Jordan Beverly and you got a couple good guys out there. But it's sporadic and you know that. Once one big name falls out, you really don't have anybody to fall on. So I figured if I moved down to like light heavyweight, got there, maybe moved down a little more, you got a lot more competition, you know what I mean? Just the pool's bigger, the numbers are bigger, and there's more better guys, So
absolutely.
That was the plan.
And last time you fought was Cage Wars 42, where you pulled out the victory with a rear naked choke in the first against Michael Erb. How did that feel to get that victory? You're 4-1 in your career. How does it feel to get that victory?
I felt good, man. Like I said, I was confident going into the fight. I don't think he was really accustomed to the rules in New York. He was, a PA fighter, and you can't do ground and pound on the floor, and, you always have to wear shin guards, and there's just a bunch of dumb rules, So, he came up to New York, and, when I knew I had the guy, let's be honest, I knew I had him is when he was burning up pads in the back room. Like, I was sitting there with Al Morrow, just kind of relaxing, grabbing on each other, just freaking, just warming up the muscles and getting the blood going just a little bit. I mean, the fight's in the cage, not in the back room where you're warming up. And he was just smoking it, man. I mean, like, just ridiculous. So I think he gassed himself out and psyched himself up before the fight even came. And, I think the fight went like every fight that I fight goes. Everybody thinks they can beat me, and they don't know what they're getting themselves into. Like I said, my cardio's great. My pressure's relentless. It never stops. I mean, Mike Erb didn't land one clean hit on me the whole fight. If you go back and actually watch the fight, I was pressuring him, and he did not land one clean hit. The only hit he did land on me was an illegal knee when I ducked under kept ducking those, just wild throws, wild strikes he was throwing at me.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to duck under, and a knee came up and it hit me in my nose. And that's why I, checked my nose in the fight. I was because I was it felt like getting hit by a rock, And so I knew it was a knee. But if you actually go back and slow down the tape or look at it, not one clean strike of his went through. It was all arms.
And any
shot that I wanted to hit, I hit him with.
Well, you're definitely a taller guy. You usually have the reach, and you're definitely going to have the reach and the height on Bob Buskey in this fight.
Yeah.
Do you believe that's going to play a great advantage for you, especially
man,
when it comes to the grappling game?
You could pull a pair of arms off a T-Rex and give them to me, and I'll beat Bob Buskey. So, I mean, it don't matter about reach with this guy. I mean, honestly, let's be honest with each other here, and let's talk about who he's fought and how he fights. I mean, he fights like a panda, no skill. I mean, that's just how it goes. If you were to go fight a panda, what would a panda have? He would have weight. That's it. And that's all Bob Buskey's got is weight. Jelly belly. That's it. There's no skill there. I've seen him fight. I forgot I never knew who the first guy he fought was. Some guy named
Dominic Lopez.
Dominic Lopez. He got choked out or knocked out, whatever. So he lost his first fight. Then he fights a 45-year-old guy who's never went and trained a day in his life. I mean, the guy's doctor told him, listen, I don't want you watching UFC because it's bad for your heart rate. And yet he goes in there and fucking fights him. So, I mean, I seen the guy come out, and I couldn't believe they were putting him in there with Bob Buskey. So Bob Buskey knew that was for the taking. Then he got Travis Streeter, who is a good guy, but he doesn't train, and he knows that. He just started taking it serious, trying to get his weight down, and I guess he was sick for the fight. But, I mean, he has never fought anybody, and I guess the only fraction of a fighter that he fought, he lost to. So, I mean, the guy's ranked, 4,000 something in New York that I saw? That's what he's ranked. I'm ranked number 7. So, I mean, he's going to notice the difference of a caliber fighter I am. So, I mean, he doesn't have a hope in the fight. Not on the ground. He can call himself the jiu-jitsu panda, the jiu-jitsu monkey. I don't care what he calls himself. He's not going to have a hope with me on the ground and the striking, nothing. He's not going to control me. If you go look at any of my fights, I've never been in a bad position. And I should be undefeated. I lost a horrible decision at the Turning Stone. So, I mean, he'll find out on April 10th when he shows up, if he shows up. I mean, I've been getting a lot of messages saying that this guy's going to pull out just like he did with Chris Miles. So, we'll see.
Interesting. Speaking of that, I know he doesn't want anyone to pull out, but I did believe he did pull out on his last fight. But aside from that, tell us what gym you're at right now, where you're training, how's training going?
I was at Viking MMA. I don't know what I'm going to do now. Like I said, I'm going to start training next week and train hard for 5 weeks, until the fight. But I'm not sure if I'm going back there or I'm going to go somewhere else, or I'm just going to train with I got a lot of private buddies who do a lot of training and stuff. But, I'm not sure, man. But when it starts, I'll definitely get back to you and let you know. But,
awesome.
I'm definitely going to work on I work on a lot of cardio on all my fights. That's why I feel very, very confident when I can go in there for 3 hard rounds and just continue to push and push and push the whole fight without being really out of breath. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. Yeah. Cardio wins fights, right? What do they say? Striking and power gets first round, second round gets cardio, third round's heart. So. Oh
yeah, man. Like I said, I've gone 2-3 rounds in my career so far, and I felt fine, and I'm a lot lighter and more in shape now than I was. So like I said, man, I don't. You've seen my fights. I don't stop, man. It's just constant pressure. You even try to breathe, I'm gonna just throw a flying Superman punch at you or a flying knee. I'm gonna do something crazy every time you try to breathe. So,
what kind of mental edge do you believe you have over a guy like Bob Buskey, knowing that you've gone 3 rounds and 2 fights, and you're 4-1 in your career right now?
Yeah.
And you're 6'4", you got a reach of 80 inches. How much of this mentally are you just that much more confident?
Yeah, I mean, dude, this is gonna be like, honestly, it's gonna be like Brock Lesnar versus the Cain Velasquez fight. You know how Brock went in there, just obviously this guy's gonna have just mass on me. He's not gonna have height on me, he's not gonna have reach on me, but he's gonna have mass on me, kind of like Brock had Cain. But Cain went in there and spanked him like a 4-year-old in Kmart. And that's what's gonna happen in this fight. He's gonna get spanked, and he knows it. Like, he already knows it. You know, he could say what he wants to anybody and hype himself up, and everybody knows what's going to happen in this fight. So, like I said, I don't know if he's going to show up. He's going to start getting cold feet 4 or 5 days out if he makes it that far, and then, I don't know, maybe another boil grows on his ass. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe that happened. I don't know.
And when does camp officially start for you? Do you have like a length of time you put into camp, or is it 2-3 weeks?
I mean, for
4
Bob
weeks?
Buskey, it should be 2 days out of the fight. I should go hit a treadmill. I got a package of marshmallows in my cupboard that I've been wanting to open, something like that. But usual guys that actually train, and they look the part. I train 4 or 5 weeks, but I'm gonna do the same regardless, and work on my cardio. And like I said, I'll be in the weight room a lot because I gotta put on some damn weight. So.
Absolutely. So, Anthony, for those who don't know, what is your background in mixed martial arts? How'd you get into it? Did you play sports in high school, college? How did you get into this?
Yeah, I played football in high school and things like that, and I took karate classes in Florida, and I was always into it. But I really got into it when I came back to New York, and I seen I think an article online or something about Thai Chi Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in Syracuse, and I went over there, and I guess my plan was to just get into some kind of athletics something. You know what I mean? I didn't know what I was really getting myself into. Wrestling, BJJ, I didn't know what it was. I just wanted to get in shape.
Mm-hmm.
So I went there, and I met 2 really cool guys named Crazy Michael Musantelli, who was an ex-Bellator fighter, and Etta Brasley, who was a Bellator fighter, and some other guys there. And I used to go and watch them after we would do regular class and watch them fight in the cage, and I wanted to do it. So I jumped in there with them, and they just obviously they wrecked me. I didn't know what I was doing. These guys just picked me apart, and I never wanted to get embarrassed like that again. So I came back the next day, and I asked these guys to train me, and yeah, that's what I did. And then they had a really good Muay Thai instructor there. I think his name's like Kevin Seaman. I haven't seen him in a long time. He has a really big name around New York for Muay Thai. So I just got into it. And my height and my reach, I didn't know how long my reach was compared to everybody else. You know what I mean? It's a little ridiculous. So that was a really good tool that I use, when I'm in there sparring and messing around and stuff.
Yeah, you're not kidding about your height and your reach, because you think about it. You're talking about the other heavyweights. You got Chris Miles, Bob Buskey, Jeremy Wolford. All those guys are about 5'9" to 5'11" the most. And yeah. I don't think anyone's taller than that. And even the guy Jeremy Wolford's fighting out of Vermont, he's, I think, 5'10". So you definitely have a huge height and reach advantage over everyone.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I said, man, I use it well, too. I mean, I haven't really got to showcase. I mean, if you see it, like I said, any of my fights, I haven't really got to showcase what I can do in there, because my fights, ever since I lost that decision to Mike DiOrio at the Turning Stone, which I don't know how I lost, because the first round, the first punch I threw, he went out and hit the ground, and I, jumped on him and punched him in his face, and he woke back up, and he was a really good wrestler in college, so he just held me down. And round 2 and 3, I mean, it was just back and forth the whole time, stand up, and they gave the last, it was 29, 28, 28, and then 29, 28. So I lost by a point or something. But anybody else that I fought, it's just been, pretty one-sided. And I fought big guys, too, like Bob.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what he's going to weigh, but I fought a big kid named Austin Martinez. He must have been over 300 pounds, and he was way more in shape than Bob, 6'3". And the kid had a really good boxing background, and he hit me with everything he had, and I ended up putting him in a Kimura. I actually ended up throwing him in the air and putting him in a Kimura. So I mean, it is what it is. I fought people that say they could wrestle, box, BJJ. Like I said, this guy Mike DiOrio that I lost to, He was 7-0 when I fought him, or 6-0, and every one of his fights, he's controlled literally every guy on the cage, on the ground, and he could absolutely do nothing with me. Nothing.
Yeah,
So I
he
made
was
him
he was
stand.
4-0 when you fought him. Yep.
Yeah, so like I said, and he controlled everybody. If you look at his fights, he was controlling everybody. They would say they were going to go in there and stand with him, but all he would do was press him against the cage, hold him there, and hit him against the cage and throw him to the ground, and that's what he would do to every one of his opponents. And he, like I said, he didn't get me not once. So.
And he's a tough guy. I actually just commentated
Yeah.
one of his fights this past weekend, and he's a guy who comes in there and puts on the pressure and is always going forward. So he's not an easy an easy fight by any means.
No.
So
I mean, if I think I had more time to train for him, I would have put him out. I would have put him out. I think I took the fight on 2 weeks' notice or 3 weeks' notice or something like that, and I hadn't been training. So, but like I said, I went in there, and at that time too, my coach wasn't too involved. I had an old coach named Keith Cole, and he just wasn't too involved with me. I was more like training with the guys like Brad Vargason and things like that at the gym. So when he's the only one who showed up with me at the Turning Stone, it was a little weird. You know what I mean? Because I don't usually train with him. So, yeah, it was just. But like I said, I thought I won the fight. I was very surprised when they put his hand up, and I mean, and ever since then, I've never let a fight get out of the first round. That was it for me.
So, Anthony, tell us a little bit about what inspires you and gets you motivated for fights. A guy like Bob Buskey, I feel like he's motivating you just by the words he's saying on Instagram and social media and Facebook and stuff. He's a guy I feel like motivates a lot of people to get in there. But what motivates you aside from someone's trash talking? Is there anything personal in your life?
Not really, man. Like, I think I really got into it because as a kid, when I was in school, I used to get bullied a lot. But that's a lot of guys these days that are in mixed martial arts that happen to them. So when I started getting older, man, I started getting really big and strong, and I just realized nobody's gonna bully me anymore. Like, even if I didn't train, you know what I mean? I'm just too damn big. But I just wanted to go in there and just challenge myself, and that's it. And I've been really respectful to everybody that I've ever fought. Even the first guy I ever fought, Rodney McPherson at the mall, he was really disrespectful, flipping me off, kicking me in the nuts. He kicked me in the nuts 4 times in that fight. I think he got 1 point taken off.
Jeez.
Yeah, so he's being really disrespectful, screaming at my family and things like that. And then everybody else I fought was actually, I've always touched gloves. Me and Bob, you can put money on it. I'm not touching the dude's gloves. It ain't fucking happening. So, it is what it is. This is the first fight I'm actually taking that I'm like, I actually want to hurt the kid. And I've never actually wanted to hurt anybody before. I just wanted to win. And so, I'm curious to see what happens when I'm, mad at somebody in there.
So say you walk away with the victory after the Bob Buskey fight. What is your goals, short term, long term, for yourself?
I'm not gonna keep putting free miles on this plane. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna keep doing this amateur stuff. So I might take one more against one of the top guys there. Who, I mean, we got Woolfolk and Walker fighting, and you got Chris Miles and somebody else fighting. So we'll see. I mean, we'll see what happens, but I'll probably take just one more, and then like I said, I'm not going to keep putting free miles on myself. It's just, I like Slim. I love the promotion. I love the amateur scene because fights are more or less for fun and for the fans rather than putting food on the table,
Absolutely.
So I'm glad I got this fight, honestly, because it's the most fun fight I'm ever going to have. It's the most confident I've ever been in a fight. So I just hope Buskey shows up. I mean, you're gonna interview him. He's gonna talk. It is what it is. But in the end of the day, he knows exactly what's gonna happen, and so does everybody else. Listen, I'm gonna have to go in there and slip on a fucking banana and break my neck for this guy to win. I'm telling you. There's no chance, man. Turtles don't beat rabbits in races. It just doesn't happen. And this panda's not gonna beat me. So, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, he could talk shit. I could talk shit too. The difference is he knows what I'm bringing to the table.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? People see what I do to people. I mean, if you look at his fight, you cannot analyze that. If I was you in your position, when I seen Buskey fight, I would not say a fucking word. I would just shut my mouth and let that dude do what he has to do. I mean, they're embarrassing. I mean, I just don't know what his plan is to come out and do to me. Because he came out with, what the hell's the kid's name? Something Combe?
Yeah, Shane
Biscuit Combhead. I don't know what the hell his name is. I mean, that guy's in a retirement home right now. Okay? And he came out, and I think Bob put his fist up and threw some kind of weird front kick, and like it took him everything he had to put this guy away. This guy's 45 years old. He just got off his oxygen machine in the back room. Okay? And he's leaning against the fence, and Buskey's giving him everything he has. Actually, if you watch the fight, Buskey had to take a damn break, okay, to finish the guy. So it took him 45 power shots to knock a 45-year-old guy out. And Travis Streeter, I don't know what happened. I think Travis Streeter ate some chicken wings before his fight, and then Buskey hit him, and like maybe he swallowed the bone, and like the bone punctured his fat. I don't know. There was some weird shit what happened when he punched him, and Travis just tapped. That was just the weirdest thing I ever seen in my life. So, I mean, this fight is a win. I mean, like I said, there's, if Bob Buskey beats me, you'll never hear from me again. I'll never fight again. I'll fucking retire from MMA.
There you have it. Well, 2 more questions before we wrap it up. Prediction for the fight. How do you see this going?
I have no idea. If the guy shows up, let's predict if the guy shows up.
All right.
If the guy shows up, he loses. That's number 1. I mean, automatically. Number 2, I don't know how the fight's going to go. I think he's going to take a punch from me and notice he's never actually been hit in his life by a real athlete or a real heavyweight fighter. So I don't know if he can honestly take a stiff jab to his face from somebody like me. I just don't know if he can without panicking. He thinks if he's going to kick my leg, if that's going to work, that's not going to work. I think he's going to try to. I'm thinking he's going to try to take me down. But I've never been in a bad position in a fight, and I'm very, very long and I'm strong, and I'll be weighing 266, so he'll have me by 70 pounds. But that grappling shit ain't going to work. So, I mean, I don't know how the fight's going to end. I mean, I see him probably just, I don't know. Usually I can predict fights, man, but I just don't know how it's going to end. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's like if he grabs me, he's going to get tossed, and I'm just going to beat his ass on the ground. And if I have a chance to finish him, I'm probably going to not. And I'm probably just going to sit in there and beat the panda the whole time just because I want to.
So you want to keep him in there, the cage, the whole time, all
like
3 rounds.
Usually, like Mike Erb, I could have done the same thing. When I had that back mount, when I did that flying knee to his sternum, I knew he was done right there. So he tried to take me down. I just reversed it, got on top. I could have ground and pounded him. I could have flattened him out. I knew I had to sink my hooks in, but I didn't because I didn't have to. I could hear his breathing when my arm got around his neck. I didn't even have to sink my hooks in him. So, I mean, Bob says something like, you better keep it standing because your jiu-jitsu's whack. I mean, I guess if that's what he thinks, you know what I mean? I don't know how he has good jiu-jitsu with 4-inch arms, 3-inch legs, and a 15-inch belly. I don't know how his jiu-jitsu's good. Because usually good jiu-jitsu guys are lean, and they're strong machines, and they have really long limbs. I mean, them guys do the best.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, he's just, if there's no way he's taking me down. So I'm telling you, anywhere the fight goes, he's going to lose. Any position in the standing, he's not going to be able to close the distance on me because he's going to get, either uppercutted or head kicked. I mean, nobody even knows I can throw ridiculous head kicks. So, I mean, I
would love to see that heavyweight. I've been waiting to see one at heavyweight. There's another heavyweight that could do that, not Bob Buskey, but I've been waiting to see that happen at the heavyweight at Cage Wars. So maybe it will happen in this show.
I'm just going to clown the guy, honestly. I'm going to just go naked Nick Diaz on him, smack him in his mouth, and just clown his ass the whole fight. It's going to be fun. So that's what you got to look forward to, just a big clown show.
Absolutely. I know the fans will be looking forward to it. So then the final question I got for you, what's one thing about you that nobody knows but you would like to share with everyone?
One thing about me that nobody knows. I don't know. I love Donald Trump.
All right. You love Donald Trump.
I'm a Republican.
There you go. All right. Maybe not everyone knows that. Okay.
Yeah, maybe not everybody knows that, man. I'm a big Donald Trump guy.
There you go. So we know which way you're voting next election.
Yes, sir.
Excellent.
Yes, sir.
Well, Anthony.
Bob Buskey, he's voting for Bernie Sanders. Everybody knows that. So.
Well, Anthony, Showtime Panek, the name is fitting. The nickname. So I'm looking forward to seeing you get back in there. My pleasure having you on the Carol's Corner MMA podcast. Any shout outs or anyone you want to recognize before we wrap this up?
No, man, this ain't one of those recognition fights. This is just me whooping the panda's ass for, 30 seconds or 3 rounds, whatever it takes. So everybody show up because this is the only fight worth watching. So.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Get tickets on CageWarsMMA.com now. You don't want to miss this fight. I believe it's going to be on the main card. Get tickets, get to the casino at Rivers Resort and Casino up in Schenectady, New York. This is Kyle Carroll with the Showtime Anthony Panek. Best of luck, Anthony, and thank you for coming on.
Yeah, man. Thanks.